Welcome to Go Getter Excel. My name is Chima, and today we are going to be looking at conditional formatting. What is conditional formatting? I'll be looking at conditional formatting like this, where you format a line of your work such that it is visually standing out from the rest. So you can imagine if you are trying to look at a particular line item and you want to help your visuals so that you can see it well, you can use conditional formatting such that when it obeys a particular order, it's going to work. Then there is another conditional formatting here that are different from the one I showed the last time. So these are numbers that meet a particular criteria. Let's say you are looking at this, like, let's say you are looking at stock and you want to see stock levels that are above a particular range, stock levels that are below a particular range, or stock levels that are dangerously low. It is something like that. This is one of the conditional formatting we are going to be seeing. Then there is the two-way conditional formatting here, where you'll be seeing the row and the column being highlighted, such that when I change the state here, it gives you another conditional formatting showing you where exactly you're looking for. I change the year again, and it gives you what you are looking for. So the row and the column keeps formatting according to your choice. We are going to be looking at all of that today. So let's start with this first one. How do we do this kind of conditional formatting? Okay, I think it's better for me to start with this because this is easier. So I will have to remove the whole formatting here. Let me clear formatting from this entire sheet. So there is no formatting. All right, so how do you do a formatting like this? So let's assume that we want to look at numbers that are less than 3 million. I can decide to put 3 million up here. This 3 million, let's check. Yes, this is 3 million. Then I can put 5 million here. All right. All right. So now, how do we format this? So this is the place I want to format. So what do? I'll go to conditional formatting, and I can decide to highlight cells, cell rules. I can come here, greater than. So this is cell that are greater than. I can type the figure that I want, and I can decide to choose where I want the figure to be. So I can just choose here, greater than 5 million, fill it with which color. I can decide to custom. So anyone that is greater than 5 million, I'll fill them with this color, click OK, click OK, and there you have it. So all these that are greater than 5 million, they get highlighted. Now, what if I want to do greater than 3 million? No, less than 3 million. Now, I can use the same method. All I need to do is go to conditional formatting, and I will come here less than, and I can choose this here, and I want to fill them with, yes, I like this color. I will click OK. So all the ones that are less than 3 million, are going to be filled like this. Now, if I want something that is exactly equal to 3 million, between 3 million and 5 million, how do I do that? I can still come here, highlight this, go up again, conditional formatting, highlight cells, and I will see between. Now, the between, this is the lower boundary between 3 million and 5 million. I want them to be a particular different color. All right, I'll click OK. So you see all the cells are highlighted. Now, the ones that are highlighted with this new color are the ones that are between 3 million and 5 billion inclusive. The ones that are green are the ones that are above 5 million. And the ones that are red are the ones that are below 3 million. Now, this one way to do conditional formatting. Now, another way here, I can just click on any side and I'll go to conditional formatting, clear rules, clear from entire sheet, and it's cleared. All right. Now, I will want to do it another way. I'll highlight all of them. Okay. Sorry. My mouse is acting up. All right. So I'll go up here and I'll go to conditional formatting. Now, I can go to top bottom rules. Top bottom rules, top 10 items. So how do I get my top 10 items? Sorry, my mouse is acting up. Let's say I click on top 10 items, then I'll format them with this. So these are my top 10. If you count this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are my top 10 numbers. And this is how they are being formatted. These are your top maximum numbers. Now, you can decide to do that. You can change the formatting. Maybe you don't want top 10. You can come here and do manage rules. Manage rules. Now, you come here, edit the rule. Now, instead of top 10, you want bottom 10. Maybe that is what you want. And you click the open enter button. You click on apply. You click on OK. And so your bottom 10, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Where are the other 3? 8, 9, 10. These are your bottom 10 rules. That's another way to give conditional formatting. Maybe you're looking for your sales, your worst 10 sales figures. You can use that, or you are using top 10 sales, so to speak. You can use that. Then you can also clear formatting again here and decide that let's clear the formatting, clear rules, clear from entire sheets. You can come back here again and do it. Let's see another way of doing conditional formatting. Conditional formatting, you can decide to do color scales. You can decide to do color scales. Let's look at more rules here. Let's not do more rules. We'll come to that. Color scales, you can decide to pick your color. So the color, as they are increasing in they are getting thicker. As they are decreasing, they are getting fainter. So this is another way to do your conditional formatting. You can set the rules. Sorry, my mouse is asking me to charge it. Just a moment. All right, so you can come here and delete the conditional formatting. Please give me a moment. Okay, you can come to manage rules here and you can click on the edit rule. You can say your lowest value should be, is your lowest value. What is the value? You can pick it down here. Lowest value. And okay, so you will not pick the lowest value because it wants you to show what the lowest value, the color of the lowest value will be. Let's give it this color. Then your highest value, let's give it this color. And you click on OK, apply, OK. So you can see how it has changed. So you can improvise and do how you feel is better for you. So this is one way to do conditional formatting. The next way to do conditional formatting, I have to clear the rules first. Pardon, my mouse is clear. Okay, sorry. I have to clear rules from selected entire sheets. Another way of doing this is to use a formula. So most times using a formula, you will get it on new rules. So these are some of them based on their sales value. On sales value, you can do greater than, less than. Then you can do cell, what the cell contain. For example, if it contains values between one number or another number, or you can use It's based on text that it contains, because here you can click on either value or specific text or dates or blanks or errors or no errors. You can choose any of these. Then you can come up here again and you can do top or bottom like we did before, or you can format only values that are above or below a particular average, then format only duplicate or unique values. So now if you want to see if your your data contains duplicates, you can decide to you can decide to format those ones that are duplicates so that you can see them clearly and remove them. Then you can decide that, okay, I want to only format those ones that are unique, that do not contain duplicates. You can do that. Then the one we're interested in now is using a formula to determine which cell to format. Now, this is very interesting as formula is very dynamic and is useful for a wide variety of uh, data. Now, let's look at how we can use a formula. Now, when using a formula, your your conditional formatting will be looking at to apply your formula on the first selected data. The first selected data is what it's going to be looking out for. If that first selected data is true, every other data that has the characteristics of that first selected data will be selected. If that first selected data is false, every other one that has the characteristics of that first selected data will be false. Now let's see how we can use a formula to determine what to do. So what we'll do here now is we first of all do something called a helper. Yes, let's use our helper here. Sometimes people who are new to conditional formatting, they always want to use a helper cell to see what they are doing. Now we want to check if anything that are less than 3,000. So what we will do now is we'll be looking at this cell. If this cell is less than 3,000, so this is what we will do. We'll say equal to, we'll choose this cell, D3 is less than 3,000 and it's false. So because this is false, now once it is false, the line will be it will be highlighting that line also as false, or that particular value as false. So but what we will do now is this. Now if we are to drag this formula, this is 1 2 3 4. Oh, sorry, my screen goes blank here. Just a moment. My screen is blank. What just happened? Sorry, technical difficulties. Is in a moment it will come up. Okay, sorry for that. Sorry for that. All right. Okay, someone's hand is up. Please, can we hear your question? Let me see if I can unmute you. I'm trying to unmute you. Okay, you have been unmuted. Can we hear your question? All right, so we can continue because I'm not getting the question from him, her. So let's go. Sorry, my mouse is still misbehaving. Wow. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so let's continue. Now, this is the formula I did before. If I were to drag this down and I do Control arrow, now my formula is telling me that the second one is true, and the third is false, and the fourth one is false. So, but Is that correct? Is it actually correct? So how do we handle this? Because now if you look at the formula, this mouse misbehaving. If you look at the formula, oh wow, the mouse is just hanging. So I'm using the keyboard now. If you look at the formula, this is taken from E3. E3 is lesser than J5 and J1, sorry, and J1 happens to be 5 million. It's lesser than J5, and that is true, but that is not the condition that we need. So we'll need to format this formula again. So we'll go back to this formula and we will say, let's go back here and do equal to. Now we will want to say D3 and D3, yes, is lesser than, we'll put a dollar sign now, dollar I1, dollar I, dollar 1. So now, when you hit the enter button, is false. If I drag Control arrow, so it's all false. So you see, it's all false. Now, if I were to drag these things down, let's say let's drag to this place and let's see how it works. Control D. So everything here is false. But when we get to this place, is true. So that means this figure here is less than 3 million. If you look at this side, this line already is true. So all this line here are less than 3 million. The rest are greater than 3 million, so they are all false. So what do? We will use this helper cell. We'll use this helper cell to do our conditional formatting. And so, how do we do this? We'll come back again. Let's highlight these cells up to here. I must say that my mouse is not working. I'm trying to navigate with the keyboard. The mouse has also refused to charge. So my keyboard is freezed here. The mouse is not responding. Okay. So I will get to conditional formatting now. Just give me a while. Now I'm at conditional formatting and I will go to new rules. When I get to new rules, I will use a formula to determine what to use. All right. So now the formula I'm going to do is D3, and I will say equal to. Now it will be looking at the column D already. D3 So I will say D3, I'll put a dollar, 3, D and 3 should be less than I1. So I'll put my dollar I, dollar 1. If this is true, I will need to format this. In which color am I going to use? I'm going to use just a moment. Let me use any of this color. Let me use this. All right. All right. And I'll hit the enter button, and that's it. So you can see that all the colors, these ones that satisfies, whenever it is true, it satisfies this and it gets highlighted. Okay, I use greater than 3,000. That is what I did. When I use greater than 3,000, is it greater than I use? Let's see the rules again. Let me see the rules. Today of all days, my mouse refused to respond. I'm trying to see how I can use my keyboard to navigate, depending when the mouse is charged up to work. Wow. We are back now. So let's see what happens to the conditional formatting. Let's manage rules. And we said D2. Oh, it's D2 we use and not D3. Let's edit the rules here. And I'll come here, go back, D3, enter, apply, okay. Less than 3,000. So this is behaving. So you see, all these ones that are true, it's all complied. All these ones that are, so what happens is that if this first one in that line is true, it will make everything to be true, as in the case of this. So that is how we use conditional formatting to highlight a line. So, but we'll look at this other one here. How did we achieve this conditional formatting here? So what do we need to do? Now, I have a list of states with their capital and the governors and the geopolitical zones. Now, I want to be looking at the geopolitical zones and I want to be highlighting the geopolitical zones. So, I have here the geopolitical zones arranged in north central. This is in alphabetical order. So, now I want this is going to be what is going to be controlling what I choose. I want anything here that I choose here that is highlighted in yellow to reflect on the body of the form of my data. So if I want to see the north central, if I change it now to southeast, then everything is going to change. So how do I achieve all of these? So you can see here, this is true. Once it is true, it has highlighted everything here. Once it is false, it doesn't highlight that. It only highlights those ones that are true. So now let's see. Now, how do I clear this? I will come down here. This was created as a list. We'll go to data. Go to data validation. This is data validation. I will go to data validation. It is a list. Let me put any value here and I can clean this off, and I will also clean this formula. Let's clean this formula off. So now these are my inputs. These are taken from these 6 geopolitical zones. So the first thing to do here is to create a list so that I don't just type anything, because it's possible I might type the wrong thing. It's possible I might put space more than the required space and it will not work. Sometimes it's good to use a list. So how do I do a list? I'll go to data. It's already in data. Go to data validation and I'll click on data validation. In settings, I want to allow only a list and I'll click on list. Now, what is the source of my list? I'll click on here. I can click on this place to get the source of my list. My source of my list is from this to this place here. Now, once I've gotten the source of my list, I'll come back here and the source here, you see, is a dollar sign in the beginning of the column, of the row, and the beginning of the column, to show that it will not depart from that list. And I'll click on OK, and it brings a drop down button. Now with this drop down button, you can select. Now after selecting, now I want my selection to be, I want what I'm going to highlight will be based on this selection. So what happens is that now this north central, southeast, and southwest, they are all at this column F. So it means that my criteria range is in column F. My criteria is in I, but not really in I, it is in H. What it means is that H is taking its feed from I, and whatever H says should be affecting, the command should be translated in my data. So now let's see, we'll use a helper cell to do all of that. So we'll start with equal to, we want to look if southeast, which is F3, is equal to what I have here, and I'll hit enter. It's false. It is not equal to. Now, I want this column F to be fixed such that even if I go to column E, column D, it will be looking at what happens in column F. So what I will do here, I'll put a dollar sign in front of column F. So column F is equal to column F3 is equals to H2, and it tells me false as before. Now, if I were to drag this thing one step down, it's still going to give me false. But look at what happens here. Now, it is looking at column F4, but what is it equating it to? To H3. I don't want it to move from H2. I don't want it to move from H2. So I'll come here and I will put a dollar sign in front of H, put a dollar sign in front of 2, and I'll hit enter. I'll go back again. Everything is still giving us false. Now, it is because there is a possibility that there will be a blank number. That is why it's giving us false. So, but by the time I now put something, let's say southeast, so you see southeast is showing me true. All these are showing me false. But now there is I would like to clean off this data validation here so that we will know how we inserted it. So we'll go to, sorry, it's conditional formatting. I'll just click on any of the cell and I'll clear rules from the entire sheet. So this conditional formatting, it's not working anymore. So what will I do? I will take this first formula. This is the formula while we did the helper cell. This is the first formula we are going to use. We'll just copy this formula, everything inside here, because this is the formula that will guide the formatting. I will just copy, Control C, then I will come down here now. I will highlight all of this. I will highlight all of this. These are the areas I want my formula to affect. And I'll go to conditional formatting. I'll go to new rules and I'll come here, use a formula. I'll go to where I will put the formula. I'll just paste it. Now, this is the formula that I want to be used to set my condition. And I'll go to format and I'll click on this, or let me use this now. Let me use this. Okay, then I'll click on OK. I'll click on OK, and there we have it. All the southeast are being highlighted whenever I click on southeast. If I come here and I change from southeast to north central, it shows me false all here. Where we have north central is where you'll be seeing true. If I were to drag this formula down, you'll see it now. I'll drag it down. Where you see true is where it's being highlighted. So this formula is true at the highlighted part. So you can see all the states that are in north central. I will go back again and I will change. Let me go to southwest and let's see if I will see Lagos. All right. Now in southwest, let me see all the places that are true. This is Ekiti. Let's go down. You see Lagos, okay? And you see other southwestern states. Almost all the states with beginning with O are all southwestern states. All right, so that's how you do your conditional formatting in such a way that all of them are being highlighted. So take note that we use a helper cell. This helper cell, we are looking at what is our criteria range? That criteria range, we should hold it with a dollar sign. Our criteria range happens to be F, and the beginning of that criteria range is F3. And so we hold the criteria range. The row is what we want to hold, which is F. But we want the 3 to be flexible so that if it goes down, it keeps looking down when it goes. But if it should not depart its search or its check from column F. And now what is it checking against? Our checking what is comparing here is this H2. We want this H2 to be fixed such that even if it goes down to the list, it will still be looking at that H2 to see, does H2 correspond with what I have in what I'm checking? All right, so that's what we do. So after that, you can as well remove the helper cell, because the helper cell has done its work in the conditional formatting. Now, that being said, there is something called two-way conditional formatting I was telling you here, where you look at a state. I'll choose a state here. You choose a particular year. And how do you achieve this? Now, how we achieve this, we'll go to where we are going to do the work here. We're going to do it here because here all the formatting is removed. How do we achieve this? The first thing to do is we look at we use something called the index and match. We use something called the index and match. So first of all, we want to look at row. These states, all these fields from 1 down to 37, each of them are rows. So we want to look at our rows, but we don't want to be typing these states. We want to choose them from the list. So the first thing to do here is to create a list. As we've said before, we go to data, go to data validation, then you create a list. This is your list, and you want your list to be chosen from your source is this row, from this state down here down to Zamfara. Can you see that it is highlighted with dollars in before the column and before the row to show that it will not depart from that? Then you come down here, you click OK. Now you've selected a list of states. Now we'll come to this year and we'll do the same thing. We'll create a list. How do we create a list? We'll go here again, text to column. You get data validation. You select a list. Now your list can be vertical, can be horizontal. Your source could be from 2016 down to 2017, 2018, 2019. And I'll close the list here and hit enter, and I have my list up to 2019. All right, now the next thing I'll do here is anything I put here, I want to see the row location. Anyone I select here, I want to see the column location. So I will now come here. How will I get the row location? I will use my match function. Why am I using the match function? The match function tells me the location of a particular data. It tells me the location in numerical values, and that is what I want. So I will come again and I'll say equal to match, open a bracket. What am I matching? I am looking for trying to match what I get here. This is my lookup value. I'm looking at anything here. For the moment, there is nothing there, but you just want to assume that something might be there, and it's a state, comma. Where is your array? Where are you looking at it from? You are looking at it from this Abia state down to Zamfara. Okay, this is your lookup array. I can decide to put them in dollars. I can put the dollar sign at the beginning here. I'll come here, I'll put it here again. That's fine. I'll come here again, I'll put dollar, and I'll put dollar. Now I'll go to the ending. This is my lookup array. I'm looking at cell E3 down to E39. I'll put a comma, and my match type. Am I going to use an exact match? Yes, I want it to be an exact match such that when I click on Abia, it will look for it, and when it sees exactly that, it takes it. I don't want to look for approximate match, which is either less than or greater than. I want an exact match. So I'm going to put 0, and that concludes it. And I'll close it with the parentheses, and I'll hit enter. It will tell me, it will give me an error. Why is it giving me an error? This is because I am looking for an empty space. You see this place here? There was nothing here. So I'm looking for an empty space, and part of my selection was there was no empty space in that. So now this is an error. How do you handle error? I'll come down here and I will handle my error here. I'll go to the beginning of my formula and I will do if. Now if there is if error, there is if and a, and there is if s. What error that came out here was NA. I can decide to use the if NA. So I will say if NA, I'll open a bracket. What is the value? The value is everything I have done from March down to the end of it. That is my value. Comma. What is the value you want to show if there is an NA error? If there is an NA error, I want it to show blank. So you can be using this to create a blank template. If there is an NA error, you don't want NA error to be showing on all your work. When you submit to someone and you see NA error, and you'll be asking, what is all this? So you want to hide those errors. So if there are NA error, what should you do? Change it to a blank cell. How do you do a blank cell in Excel? You do quotation mark, open quotation mark, close quotation mark. This will bring a blank cell, and I'll close it now, hit enter, and see what's happened. It is blank. It is blank. So what happened now is, if I decided to choose Abia State, can you see the location? Location number 1. It's as good as saying serial number 1. If I go to Lagos, let's look at Lagos. Lagos is 25. Let's see where it is. Lagos is 25. So in my row selection, Lagos is number 25. But let's leave it at Lagos. Okay, now we go to the year. We have blank again here. We want to do we want to use conditional formatting. No, we want to use our list that we created here. We want to check what column number or column location are we referring to. So I will come here, equal to match. Match once again is helping us out. Open a bracket, and I'll click on this place. Now, mind you, this is a blank cell. And at the conclusion of this formula, it's supposed to give us an error if we don't use our if NA, because we will not be choosing a blank cell. So, but suffice it to say, we are looking at anything in this column B8. Anything in column B8 is what we are looking at, comma, what is our lookup array? We want our lookup array to be year. So I can't be starting from state, because state is not a year, capital is not a year, geopolitical zone is not a year. I'm going to start from 2016. So 2016 becomes our column 1, and I will take it down to 2019. Okay, I can come down here and put the dollars in them. Dollar sign here, dollar sign before the column, before the row. I'll go down here, do the same thing, dollar sign, that's fine. And I'll go and put a comma. My match type must be an exact match, and I'll put a 0 there, and I'll close it. Now, if I hit the enter button, I'm going to be getting an error, but I don't want to get an error now, so I'll just go and fix the error, because in my first experience doing the row, I got an error. I don't want to repeat that in the column. I'll just say if NA, okay, if NA, I'll open a bracket. Everything here from match down to this parenthesis is what is referred to as the value. What it's asking you, what value do you have before? This is the value. Now, what value will you get when you press a comma? It's asking you what value should you show if your value returns an error. If your value returns an error, I want it to show a blank cell. So I'll put this is a quotation mark, open quotation mark, close quotation mark. When you do that, it becomes a blank cell. And you close the bracket, hit enter, and it's still blank. So this is a good template. Now, when you come down here and you decide to choose on 2019, 2019 is column 4. So if we check, this H is column 1, I is column 2, J is column 3, K is column 4. So we are correct. So this is our roll number, this is our column number. Now, that being said, let's change this thing now to, let's say, Akwa Ibom, because this is within our screen. Akwa Ibom is serial number 3, and we're looking at 2019. Now, how do we populate the figures here such that Akwa Ibom 2019 figures is going to show there? Now, we'll do something called index match. Index match. Now, index is going to look at all the things you indexed. Then it's going to be looking for your row number and your column number. It's going to be looking for your row number and your column number. Now, if I were to do this now, I will need to do a slight modification. So I will come here and I will say index. This is index, right? Now, what are you indexing? I am indexing everything here. I can decide to say everything from D2 to K2 down to K39. This is my index. I can come down here and I can put my dollar here. I can put my dollar here. I can put my dollar here. And I can put my dollar here. So let's see how this will work. Okay. Now, comma, What is my row number? Because the index is asking me for your row number. Now I'm going to pick this row number. So I'm going to click on this. This is my row number. Now I don't want it to go away from here whenever I pick my row number. So I'm going to come here and I'll put a dollar sign here, and I'll put a dollar sign here again. That's my row number, comma. My column number should be this. Now, because this is this, and I'm going to put my dollar sign here, dollar sign here. Okay. Now, after that is said and done, and I will close the bracket, hit the enter key, and it's giving me northeast. Why is it giving me northeast instead of figure? It's because of this column number. Why? Because this is column number 1, D is column number 1, E is column number 2, F is column number 3, and G is column number 4. So the problem lies in what we are indexing. I know it's going to give us an error. Now let's fix it. Now this index, we will not start from D. We will start from where our column started, from H. So I'll go here and I'll remove this D and I'll put H. Okay. Now if I hit the enter button, it gives me the right figure. 2019 in Akwa Ibom. 2019, let's check in Akwa Ibom. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's still giving me a wrong answer. Why? Uh-oh. 1, 2, 3. Okay, this is row number 3. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's fix it again. Oh, I can see. We need to remove this because, okay, let me show you what it is picking. This is Akwa Ibom here. 1, 2, 3, 4. But it is picking this figure up here. So that is a problem. Okay, so let's fix it now. Our index is not going to, we have indexed H2. We should now rather change it to H3 so that it will not be taking the headings. H3. All right. When we do H3 and we hit enter, and now it fixes it. Let's look at Akwa Ibom here, and we are getting the right figure. Let's see it here. This figure is equal to this figure. Let's go now and choose Abia. Abia is telling me this figure, which is the same thing here. If I were to choose another one here, 2016 is giving me this figure. All right, now that is done, let me clean this, and this thing that I highlighted here, this is not conditional formatting. This highlighting that I only did a highlighting. So I'll click on no fill so that you will not think it's conditional formatting. All right, now that is done, how do you do the conditional formatting? How do you do the formatting? Okay, so I will start by, where do I want these things to be highlighted? Where do I want these things to be displayed? So I can come here. These are the things I want. So I will come here, go to conditional formatting, and I will say new rule. And I will say equal to, now what am I doing? I can say for the row, I can say D2 or D3 is equal to this. That's for the row, comma. For the column, I will also say, no, sorry, it's not D3. B5, it's not D3, B5, B5, okay, no, equal to D3, D3 is equal to B6. That's comma, that's for the row. Then you come again, D3 is also equal to your column. So this is two conditions. You have your or, you close the bracket, you come to format. Let me use a different color now to format. Let me say this. Let's say okay, okay. Wow, it's only choosing one here. Just a moment. We are going to fix that now. Just a moment. Sorry, I had an issue. So let's try to fix that again. Let's come back to our conditional formatting. Let's manage this rule. Let's try to fix it. We'll edit the rule. Now we are looking at, okay, it's not going to be D3, it's going to be E3, E3. So we are going to be, sorry, we are going to be locking the E, E3. We are going to lock the E and leave the 3. E3, which is Abia, should be equal to B5. So it's going to be B5, comma. Then we're also looking at H, H3, not D. We're going to be looking at H3, H. We are not going to lock, we're not going to lock the H, but we are going to lock the 3. H3 is equal to B, B8 and not B9. Okay, let's click on OK, and it gives me what I want. It gives me what I want. Now, assuming I change this to Anambra State, it's giving me what I want. It's also giving me Cross River what I want, but it's not giving me the horizontal. So let's fix it again. Let's fix this again. Go to conditional formatting. You have to manage rules. We'll come down to edit rules. Okay. Let's come again and put D. Let's see what will happen to D. Okay. D3. Just a moment, it will be fixed. Go to manage rules again. I don't think it's going to be D. It's going to be H. H3, which is our column, should be the same thing with number 9. Okay, that would mean that we need to change this formula here to D for it to work. Oh, there's a ref. We'll find a way to fix this. Just a moment. My network is becoming unstable. All right, we can decide to do them one after the other so that instead of doing the or, there are two conditional formatting. And so we can decide to do a second one. Let's do a second one. Conditional formatting, new rule, use a formula. So we can say H2 is equal to any of the year listed here. So we will come down here and make the 2, we'll fix the 2 with a dollar sign. Then we'll come and format this. Let's give it this same color. Is it the same color? And click on OK. OK. Wow, this is still not working. We have to fix it today. Let's go to manage rules again. Oh, there's only one rule here. Okay, I'll click on this. Manage rule. Okay, this is the rule here. And it's for formulas that are here. H2 equal to B8. Let's see. It's still not working. Okay, let's try to see what could be wrong, because sometimes you may not know what you are doing wrong. Let's see the original one that we created here. Let's see what was the conditional formatting rules. Manage the rules here. Formula or, okay, E3, where is our E3? E3 is equal to B5. B5, yes. And D2, 1, 1, 2 is equal to B8. B8. Okay, let's see whether we can apply that. Let's see whether we can apply that in the first conditional formatting we did. Manage rules. Let's see if you can apply that. That means our formula affects D2, yes, down to K939. So we'll change this one to edit rule. Let's say D2 now. Let's say D2 equal to, let's see if this will work. All right, it works. That's what I was looking for. So now this is, so we can now still go down now and edit these rules, manage rules. Instead of applying the formula from D2, we can apply the formula from D3. Uh-oh. Can apply the formula from D3 down. Okay, let's even click it and say D3 down to K39. And let's apply. Okay, so that's fine. We've now highlighted this. We have now highlighted all of that. So that's fine. So the next thing now is the intersection. How do we get this intersection to be highlighted? I may want to use a helper cell here, and I can say equal to, I want everything to be looking at 2020, 2016, this first one here. So I will say equal to this equal to this. It's going to tell me false. It's going to tell me false, but no problem. If I were to drag this thing down to 9, okay, now the problem is the H keeps changing. This B keeps changing. So if I were to put a dollar sign here and put a dollar sign here and hit enter, and I were to drag down, this is telling me true. Okay, so I will not start from B2. This is B3. Sorry, this is supposed to be 2. Oh, I did it in the wrong place. Let's start here. Let's do it in the right order here. Let's say H3 in the same line, yes, equal to B2. I want to put my dollar sign here, put another dollar sign here. Now, I also want to hit the enter button, and if I go down, you see 9 is true. I'm going to use this same formula now, copy it, and I will go here and highlight this down to this place. Sorry, I'm going to copy this formula. I'll copy, hit enter and go down, highlight this down to this place. I'll go to conditional formatting, new rule, use this formula, and I will use this, and I will click on format. Let me use the green, and I'll click OK. I'll click OK, and that's it. So you see here, whenever there is a match, it gives me. Now let's change. Let's take this one down to a state up here, Bayelsa. Let's change this one now to 2019. Let's change this to 2018, and it fixes it. You change here now. Let's say this is Anambra State. It's fine. Let's bring it 2016. It's fine. So that's how you do your conditional formatting. So now this is helping you. You delete this helper and you are fine. So it means that whatever your figures are feeding you here, whatever you are getting here, you want to see the data where it is coming out. You see the whole row, you can see the whole column, but the specific figure you want are all here and are pictorially displayed here. So that's how data is being formatted in such a way that they obey a particular set of rules that make them to be colored or highlighted to bring out the visual quality that you want, so that this data can be easily seen and analyzed. So today, that is all we have for you for data um, conditional formatting. In our next class, we will be taking conditional formatting, index and match, and VLOOKUP to a higher level, such that we'll be using all of these together to do a particular project. So thank you so much for the time, for the patience when the system was giving me issues, and we hope that this system glitch will not continue in the next video. See you again in the next class.